Righty-ho. Dime. How's it going, mate? You are indeed the first one along. How's your day been? I've only just got everything set up. I was a bit slack getting everything organised, but here we are. And yeah, hopefully it's going to be a good game. The last one was pretty close. Spoiler alert for the Highlanders and Hurricanes game. That one was very, very close indeed. But anyway, we'll see how things go. We won't have Jules in the chat tonight because she's going to be at the game. John is in as well, mate. How's it going, John? Starleo, mate. Good evening. How are you doing, sir? You must be pretty pleased, actually, based on how that last game just went. I know which team you follow. Not overly impressed, but you'll take it. There you go. There you go. Certainly take it. There's not that much between the New Zealand teams, eh? Like, the Highlanders came within 3 points of beating the Crusaders in Christchurch, so just because they've only got one win doesn't mean they're necessarily easier to beat than anybody else, eh? They just haven't had the finishing. Thoughts on Hugo Keenan? What about him? He's bloody good. Very good. Good under the high ball. Deceptively quick. Attacking threat. Not the biggest guy, but he's nimble. Unless something's happened to him that I don't know of. But yeah, if you just want my impression of the guy. Mr. Consistent. Very good. Very good. James, hello. Currently under a tree on a golf course in Dubai, 41 degrees. How does that work? I'm sitting on my chair in my living room. And it's 15 degrees. Wearing a Tars jersey. My missus has just gone off to bed. Novmum, good evening. Junaid, mate. How's it going? I think I picked the Tars. But I could be mistaken. I picked the Blues last week without even knowing it to beat the Chiefs. I'm sure I didn't pick them to beat the Crusaders though. Felt like the Canes collapsed a bit in the second half. To be honest, the Canes had a bit of a Blues thing going on from yesterday where they just weren't in the game. The Canes just weren't playing any rugby. They were just kind of passive, just watching what the Highlanders were doing. It was bizarre until they kind of got that try out of nowhere. Jezza, mate. Good evening. Happy Easter. Hope you guys are all having a fun time. I went to my brother's house today. Kids had a wee Easter egg hunt, but my daughter's a bit under the weather, which is unfortunate. She was a bit miserable. Didn't know it until I got her home. She starts running a wee bit of a fever, so fingers crossed she bounces back. She did COVID in like a day and a half, so she should be alright. Kia ora, Victoria. This is a bit of a more suitable time frame, hey? Not up at the crack of dawn, this one. You've surely had your brekkie. You good to go? Is this due to start at 10 p.m. time? They listed at 9:45, but I swear they just start the coverage. I could tell as soon as the guys were only finishing their warm-ups at about like 9:43 over here, so I was like, right, it's going to start late, but we'll just come on and have a chat to start with anyway. Daramundi, man, how's it going? Jez is looking forward to the return match against Toulouse. Surely, eh? That's one of my must-watches for tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow my time. So we will see. Starleo picked the Force because you always going to back the Harvey Beef boys. But they're not Harvey Beef anymore. They lost the beef. They got no more beef power. Anyway. All games but Chiefs Minor Pacific have been down to the wire. Crusaders Blues was down to the wire. Reds and Rebels was down to the wire. Highlanders Hurricanes down to the wire. Yeah, you're right, Nov Mum. That's a good observation. Jamie's looking forward to the game because it causes you less stress than the Canes did. Yes, I'm looking forward to this one compared to yesterday when my heart was pounding in my chest. Um, yeah, this one I can just sit back and enjoy. Hopefully Allard comes along because it's his bloody Tars that we're watching. Not like in the Tars kit, the white. At least you got Michael Hooper in it. But yeah. Drop goal option was all the Landers needed. Yeah, but they went for the try, eh? Yes. They got close. It had to go to they had to go to the TMO, but nothing doing. Aileron, mate, how are you going? How's the weather over in WA? It was a bit murky here this morning, but it ended up being a peach of a day for Easter. No more beef power is why the force have been in decline, Star Leo. Truer words have never been spoken, mate. You need that Harvey beef. This ultra French connection ain't gonna work. Blues Crusaders was amazing last night. Hart can't take another game like that, but you also it's what you want for the finals. Yeah, those games when your team gets a result that's just so stressful. They're so satisfying, but they're so brutal when you lose them. But that's just the nature of the game, isn't it? It's the risk. Yeah, looks like we're almost gonna have kickoff. I'm on the laptop today, so fingers crossed I won't be so far behind. But we'll see. It's an old laptop. You guys are on a different laptop. Thoughts on the last minute TMO, Hanjo? I'm happy with that one and that it was an on-field no try to go with no try. Yeah, I like the way they do that ruling. Right, I've just had kickoff. We have kickoff in the Force against the Waratahs. They have not got the clock up. Now they do. We are at 5 seconds right about now. Few showers out west, Aileron. Doesn't sound characteristic of your place, but good for the grapes, I'm assuming. Weird start time. Yeah, they just kicked off at like what 9:53 over here. It's bizarre. We're on par with yesterday, really. Am I 40 seconds? Am I that far behind again? Only 45 seconds behind. I think yesterday was like a minute 20, right? The TV is honestly just slower. Oh, why haven't I got? Why haven't I listened to the game? What am I doing? Too busy yakking. There we go. Andrew Reddy. What's he done? All picked and fermenting away, Aileron. That's good stuff. Ooh, Andrew Reddy on Jake Gordon. I do actually have a cheap bottle of red somewhere over there. But I've also got a cheap bottle of vodka here. So either way, I'm prepared. It's only a mini, it's a very mini bottle of vodka. It's a baby. Anthony, mate, how's it going? Hoping the Force can get it together. They would love a win over the Waratahs. Western Australian fans would love a win over these. They would probably say stuck up New South Welshmen. Don't know, maybe I'm putting words in their mouth. Issue with the TMO call was nothing really conclusive. Instead of being specific about a double movement, he just said he hadn't seen the grounding, and if you got anything to change my mind, the TMO was like, no. Nah. So yeah, I can live with it. Saw the vodka not recommended. Honestly, I haven't had vodka in at least 10 years, maybe 15. been a very. That's why I got such a small bottle. I was worried if I got a full size bottle, I would have one drink and be like, nope, not having any more of that. Because I remember my parents' house before they moved from their old family home had a liquor cabinet full of bottles of alcohol which they'd been opened and never finished from like 30 years ago. Brain says heart. Brain says Tars. Heart says force. Brain says heart. Oh, what a scrum from the Waratahs. Goodness me, that was monstrous. Penalty time all day long. Don't think any Western Australian likes any Eastern Australians. Okay, well that's keeping it pretty easy. Pretty easy to remember. I don't think we have that in New Zealand. North v South. It's more just everyone v Auckland, as far as I'm aware. There's certainly local stuff, but nothing that quite generic. Big old scrum. That's concerning. That force scrum just got monstered. Brain says hard. It is late. Oh, I haven't even had a drop of vodka and my brain's already on that, so maybe I shouldn't have the vodka. Goodness me. Pretty much everyone versus Auckland. Yeah, that's my impression style there. My work's Easter party got a bit messy thanks to vodka. Ordered a drink 3 times from different waiters because they were backed up and all 3 arrived at once. Ooh. That gets messy. Yeah, no, I remember having vodka because somebody had it when I went to a party when I was like 20. And I remember, I think I took a cheap box of beer, which we finished. And then when I finished the beer, we just moved on to whoever had alcohol. And someone had vodka left over, so we just plowed through the vodka. And yeah, that got pretty messy. But my excuse was I was like 20. I was young enough to say I was young and dumb. Jezza. Not that I'm giving you any grief. As long as you had a good time at your Easter party. Oh, I've needed to update the score. Goodness me. I'm sleeping at the wheel tonight, folks. 3-0. There we go. Sinead says to watch up. What's going on? Big line-out move for the Force. No, Juanita Wase. He's gone. Intercept. That's going to be 10 points to 0 after about 4 minutes. That's brutal. The side chat can get very distracting. I don't mind that, eh? I don't mind that. It's like sometimes you go to a game with your mates and you just end up talking bollocks the whole time and you don't half pay attention to the game. It's happened to me in the past anyway. I'm just going to put that conversion on the board. I'm going to be brave. You're 20, tell your lawyers that. I don't know. 20 still old enough to be sentenced like an adult, that's for sure. But 20 is still pretty young, isn't it? 20, you can still make some pretty dumb decisions. Tars have fluffed the restart though. There's been a few teams guilty of that this weekend actually. Not as fun watching games solo, Skippy. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. Sometimes I find myself here, because I've usually got the laptop hooked up to another monitor. Sometimes I'll just be fart-assing around on the other monitor, getting distracted by stuff if the game's a bit slow. Sometimes I need to turn it off and tell myself to focus, eh? But if you've got someone with you, at least you can just have a yarn. Feels like a long time since you were 29, Mum. You and me both. Oh, my brother's texting me. What do you want? Sorry if you had some missed calls from me this afternoon. Little dude stole my phone. No, didn't miss call me. What memories flashing? Do I want to know what you got up to when you were 20 flashing? My imagination's already running wild. I'm only 26 and I feel a bit ripped off by the pandemic, Victoria. If you're 26, pandemic started when you were like, what, 23? I suppose that's partially ripped off. Depends when you finished uni, I guess. Yeah, I just got stuck home with kids when I was in the middle of the pandemic. Holy smokes, folks! This is going all kinds of wrong for the Force because they've just conceded another try. Unbelievable. Kane's crowd was poor. I wrote that note down, Skippy, mate. Small crowd as one of my first notes for that one. It was pretty bad. This crowd doesn't look that flash either, to be fair. Man. You were only 6 months overseas when it started, so you never really got to enjoy it. Man. Fouquetti has gone over. Edmed is the man who set it up, and it's about to be 17 points to 0. Better than a point a minute. They're smashing a point a minute. Whoever said that? Bonkers. Force defense is all over the place. Yeah. Starlio's got COVID at the minute. Oh, man. It's no good. But you'll be right, mate. Watch some rugby. Have a wee rest. Don't go anywhere. Chill out for a bit. I don't actually know how old you are, but I'm going to assume you're in the low risk age range. Aileron's 2-point margin looks a bit shite. Let's have a look. My brother's also just added, it was good to see you this morning. Yeah, because he lives out in East Auckland. Takes me about 35 minutes to drive to him, which in New Zealand terms, that's a long drive. I don't know what your countries are like. 35 minutes. That's a trek. That's an effort. I've made an effort to come see you. To see mum and dad, it's only like 15 minutes. Maybe 20 if traffic's bad. The hell am I looking at? Super Bro. Live. I picked the Tars, Aileron, by a whopping 6. So I'm not much better. Hoping for a fourth showing, Gareth. Well, they're showing something, but not what we wanted to see, unfortunately. Sometimes it's a shorter drive from Papatoetoe to your nan in Hamilton than your cousin out west. I feel you. The motorways get clogged. It gets pretty bad. But it was Easter, so traffic was actually pretty decent. A lot of people are out of town at the moment. Because I don't know about you guys, but Friday's a holiday, Saturday, Sunday's a weekend, and then Monday's a holiday. Plus, we've got next Friday as a holiday too, so some people just take the whole lot. East to west, that sounds like a drive. Yeah, bro. Henderson to Botany. That's a drive. My brother lives in a much nicer neighborhood, to be fair. I never really realized that because I haven't been to his house in ages. And I was like, man, the houses around here are massive. They're all like, they've all got, you know when the houses have got pillars? You know, like there's the front door and there's like pillars on the side. You know that's a pretty flash neighborhood when there's pillars by the doors. I make myself feel better by knowing that my brother lives with his in-laws instead of a house that he bought himself. That's the only thing I can. That's the only thing I can tell myself. Make myself feel better. As long as you're happy, it doesn't matter, right? Sinead says to watch up, and it's the Waratahs on the attack. So this could be getting pretty messy, Force fans. Oh no, Michael Hooper. Goodness me, folks. They are on absolute fire. Goodness me. It's 24 now. I'm just going to put it up. They're going to convert that. Do I miss the South African teams, Robert? Yeah, man. That was... I mean, I'll admit, I don't miss the time zones. The time zones sucked. That's a fact. But, you know, it was just like it was part of the thing. Like, you would look at the schedule and be like, man, when do we go to South Africa? Who are we playing? Oh, we got the Stormers and the Lions. Damn, we got to play the Lions away. It's going to be tough, but Stormers are bad this year, kind of thing. It was always a little kind of conversation in itself. So, yeah. All right. Let's open this vodka and see if the Force can't do something. I bet this is going to smell pretty awful. Oh, it actually smells alright. Have a sniff. Yeah, maybe it's just I'm used to smelling the Chinese death liquor, which smells horrible. This stuff actually smells okay. I might have a drink of water first, though. Because I'm a big old sook and haven't had vodka for 15 years. Western Force seem to be sleeping, Sammy. Yeah, they need a shot of vodka. Come on, guys. I've got a little mini shot glass, but I'm just gonna sip this. Because I'm pretty sure when I was 20, I wasn't sipping it, and that led to bad mistakes. I think it'd be fun to set up 1 or 2 friendly matches between Super Rugby teams and South African URTC teams for old time's sake. Yeah, it's always the calendar that's the problem, eh? Where do you find room for any additional games of anything? Would love to have South African teams back, but then it's Saru calling the shots to go north. It's funny, eh? Because like a lot of people have got a lot of different interpretations how about the separation of Super Rugby went down. And I think it was both sides, really. Like, I've seen a lot of South African fans saying, you know, we were kicked out. But then, I mean, admittedly, New Zealand had been exploring options for a while, but so had South Africa. South Africa had been kind of chucking that out there for years that, oh, we could go north, we could go north. So it was messy. But yeah. I don't know. Right, let's try this. Okay. It doesn't bring back any horrific memories, but it doesn't taste particularly great. It's warm. It's warm, burning its way down my gullet. Yeah. I thought after I had that Chinese liquor, nothing could burn me, but that still burns. Fair enough. Keep me warm on a winter's night, maybe. Alright, Force, come on. The Force have actually got the ball inside the Waratahs half. Don't throw an intercept pass. Don't get turned over. Get the ball out that rucky and Pryor. Come on. Bloody Mary. Hey, what's in a Bloody Mary? I've never had one. A little bit spicy, yeah, kind of. It felt a little bit spicy. Vic misses the Hawaris, yeah. They were just getting good, eh? The old Hawaris. The Hawaris have been the worst affected by the breakup of Super Rugby for sure. They're left out in the cold and their players are back all around the world again. South African teams are now in the URC playing against the UK teams. Yeah, there were rivalries, eh? Built up over the years. So you knew the Stormers or you knew the Lions from a New Zealand perspective. If you're South African, you knew the Brumbies or you knew the Crusaders kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing. Someone actually mentioned to me the other day in the comments saying that like he's a Bulls fan and he saw some thing in his newsfeed saying, "Oh, Bulls hammer the Dragons." And if you can excuse my language, because this is his language, but in case you got any kids around, for fair warning, he basically said, "Who the fuck are the Dragons?" Which is like, yeah, if you've never followed the Pro 14 and you haven't been following the URC, you wouldn't know. But if it had said, Bulls beat Crusaders, you damn right you'd know. Juice, vodka, and a dash of Worcestershire sauce. Oh, tomato juice. That's where it gets the bloody bit. Okay. Yeah, I don't drink many cocktails, eh? I've never really had... a Cuba Libre is like me going classy. So that tells you a lot. I've had Long Island iced teas. I don't think I've had any other cocktails. Come on, Matele. Forced need to score here. He got it. Okay. We have something for the home crowd to cheer about. And whoever said cheap Belarusian vodka, Fleshin, yes, you are correct. Cheap Belarusian vodka. Matsaele with the initial big carry. Honestly, Mattel is the best signing the Force have made. Comeback is on, Staldiero. Let's hope there's something going to be on, eh? My first flight to France, they gave me cognac to put in my coffee. Nice. Is that a French thing? I'll tell a story I don't think Alorana's heard. But once when I was on a flight from Shanghai to Auckland, I was sitting, or maybe I have told this one before. Alorana, let me know. I was sitting in the exit row because I got extra leg room. Back before they charged, it was a long time ago, back before they charged you extra to sit there, you could just ask for those seats, especially if you were tall, because I'm like 6'4". And there was a Chinese guy next to me, so the lady, the flight attendant, gave him the big lecture. If you've never sat there before, they give you a big lecture. Hey, if there's an emergency, I might need your help to open the door. You need to do this and that and just blah, blah, blah. And then she started to have to make the whole spiel to me as well, because she was like, this guy doesn't speak Chinese, right? She's going to have to tell me in English. But then I just said to her, in my pretty decent Chinese, I said, no worries. Got ya. Heard you the first time. All good. And she's like, oh, I speak Chinese. That's amazing. She plied me with alcohol the whole flight. Yeah, I was engaged by that point, but I feel like she was trying to initiate a bit of something. But I could have just been drunk. I'm not sure. Yeah. But she certainly plied. She kept coming to see me and kept chatting with me. And like, hey, do you want some more booze? Do you want some more booze? Do you want some more booze? Long flight. And I can't sleep on flights. So, yeah, I was just sitting there drinking for like 10 hours. Good times. Good times. Mr. Smooth. I know, right? Got absolutely nothing out of that exchange. But yeah. I wasn't being creepy. She kept coming to talk to me, I guess because she was bored and found a novelty in a non-Chinese guy that could speak Chinese. Okay, that one doesn't burn. Second time lucky. Mark Dunphy, 2 cents flew cattle class. Absolutely. I fly the cheapest ticket I can get. I squeeze my long legs into whatever seat I can get next to. Yep. They did once move me up to business class for the end of a flight because I had a connecting flight and my initial flight was delayed. So they wanted to let us off the plane first. And there were some spare seats in business class. So they let us sit in business class for like an hour so that as soon as we landed, they were like, you guys, go, 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 get your flights. And the people who had paid for business class were like, who the fuck are these people? It was, yeah, because there was like 10 of us. 10? Maybe 5. Dirham cents, 2 cents. Yeah, back in those days I was just Mark. I still am, really. Scary hotties on Air France are all quite old and absolute cougars. Is that right? Well, interestingly, if you fly... What airline was I even flying? It was Air New Zealand, but it was crewed by a Chinese crew. Because they can pay them less. Chinese flight attendants are almost all exclusively young, attractive women. They're still really kind of like old school, like 60s, I guess. 60s, 70s, the golden age of aviation style in China. And that, like, because I taught at a university once, and a lot of my students were English majors, and the English majors class is like 80% girls, and the airlines would come to recruit from the English majors because number one, they know there's a lot of girls there and they pretty much only want girls. Number two, they want people who speak English, and they just kind of interview the attractive ones. It's like, yeah, like China is really different in that you can literally advertise like stuff you can't advertise in New Zealand for job ads. You can be like, we only want people between this age. You have to be this height, this weight, like no fatties, like no oldies, you know, no men. Like you can be real specific, and no one over here you'd get in trouble for discrimination if you put that kind of specific requirements. But in China, it's very open about what the required people are for the job. Speak Mandarin or Cantonese? Mandarin, bro. I don't speak any Cantonese. Cantonese is way harder, as far as I'm aware. We have vodka made from milk, Fleshin. That doesn't sound appealing. But what is appealing is the fact that the Force have just got 11 phases. They're actually in the game now. It only took them 24 points to wake up, conceded. I think Mrs. 2 cents in for this conversation. I think she knows. I think I told her about that. I don't think she was fussed. Can the children understand, speak Chinese? Yeah, their English is obviously way better because they're brought up here, but yeah, they can understand Chinese and speak a bit of it. Mattel has just lost his pants. He's not wearing Force branded underwear. I'm disappointed with that. The Blues guys wear Blues branded undies. Right, Force have literally gone 20 phases and have advantage. They're going to get at least 3 out of this, surely, but do you opt for 3? Strawn, come on, son. Hope we can do a leg on Air France on your way home. I don't know, which is the best airlines? I've only flown a handful. I've never flown Emirates, which is supposed to be pretty flash. I've flown Air New Zealand, which is actually pretty nice. Flown Cathay Pacific. I've flown Singapore, Malaysian, because I've always been in that China, Hong Kong area when I've been traveling, or Australia. I've flown Qantas. I think I've flown, like locally I've flown Jetstar, which is like the budget carrier. Most of them are pretty nice. Oh, the Waratahs have managed to get a penalty. Unbelievable. How did they hold out there? Singapore, yeah, Singapore Airlines I've only flown once and they were pretty flash. They were pretty flash. Cathay Pacific's not bad, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Force lost the advantage. It was a lot of refs just keep playing it, but Singapore and Emirates have been great from your experience. Emirates is nice, but they use their old planes on the Dubai leg. Oh, fair enough. I'm trying to think if I've had any really bad ones. My parents didn't like... Was it Air China? I've only flown Chinese airlines domestically in China and they're not very good. But they're kind of low on the frills. They're kind of all a bit budgety. Emirates is really good. I was able to watch 2019 Rugby World Cup live on a Cathay Pacific flight. Bro, that's amazing. How the hell did they do that? Lufthansa and BA are the best you've been on. See, we don't get much of them around here. Maybe a little bit. Unless you're flying to the UK though. Or Europe, you probably don't get them. Turkmenistan Airlines are horrific. I can honestly say, Mark, I've never flown Turkmenistan Airlines. I have flown, there was that Chinese one that crashed the other day. China Eastern, I've flown them. I've flown China Southern, China Eastern, Dragon Air. Yeah, there's a few domestic Chinese carriers I've flown. Flew Icelandic Air once, horrendous. I'm trying to think if I've been on any really bad ones. I think I did have some. The attendants on Qantas were a bit curt, like a bit short with me compared to like Air New Zealand was a bit nicer. Watched Ireland versus Japan on the plane too. One of the main reasons I became such a big fan of rugby. Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know they could do that. Shows you how long it's been since I've flown an international flight. Come on, Force. The Force are really in the game now. It's a shame they're 24 points to 7 down. If they'd actually started this game, you know, in the first 10 minutes, then this could have been a cracker. Singapore, Air, Emirates, good. Ethiopia in Africa is good, but you're spoiled in business class. La-di-da. Can't remember, I think it was China Southern. Yeah, China's tricky because there's like China Southern, China Eastern. There's another China. There's no China Northern or China Western. But there's a bunch of Chinese airlines. Come to South Africa, airlines are worse than the buses. Bloody hell. Alright, Brazilian were bad, but have gone bust. Maybe that's why they went bust. The thing I like about Air New Zealand is they've had a few innovation things, like with the seats. There was like, once when we had one of the kids on the plane, we were able to, what was it, like convert the seat into like a little mini bed? even in economy class, which was pretty nifty. But they were obsessed with you having your belt on while you do it. That was it. Air Canada was a bit meh. Yeah, I've definitely never flown them. Actually, Malaysian was pretty average when I flew Malaysian, but that was back in like 2005. Back in those days, they didn't even have the TV screen in your seat for that airline, for Malaysian. You had to look on the one that drops down from the ceiling, I think. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was a long flight. A few local African airlines. Aileron? What about worst travel experience? I got one for you, Aileron. I'm pretty sure I haven't told this one. Me and my stories. When I was 21, I went to China, worked for a year, and then came back. But I booked the tickets a year in advance. But you can't book your return flight a year in advance because they haven't got the tickets planned out that they haven't got the flights planned out that far. So halfway through my contract in China, when they had planned the flights out, I think it's about 6 months, I contacted my travel agent and said, "Can you book me the return flight?" So they booked it for me and sent me the details. So I was like going back from Beijing to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia and then Kuala Lumpur to Auckland. So I'd already come through Kuala Lumpur on the leg there. So I did have some Malaysian money on me, but not a lot because I was only supposed to be in Malaysia a few hours each time. When I got to Beijing to go back to New Zealand, I showed them my details that I'd printed out like 5 months before. And they spent like 10 minutes trying to find, probably 5 minutes, felt like 10, trying to find my flight, looking at my passport, calling over the manager. I don't know what was going on. And they said, "We can't find your flight." So then they got like the next manager, and she eventually found me and she said, "Oh, the flight that they told you 5 months ago was actually pushed back 24 hours. So instead of me spending like, it was supposed to be 2 hours in Kuala Lumpur airport, I ended up spending 26 hours in the airport. And like I said, I had virtually no money. I had enough money to buy, I had Burger King, I bought a newspaper, and I literally read the newspaper cover to cover. I've never read every page of a newspaper before or after. Literally read the whole newspaper because I was so bored. I watched this is like 2006, so there's not much going on in airports. They had computers, but they were really rubbish, and there was always a crowd of people trying to use them, so you kind of had to fight for one, and the internet was so slow there wasn't that much to do on there. And the airport had a TV station, like the airport TV that you could watch, but it was on like a 4 hour loop. So when you've got 26 hours to kill, 4 hours is not enough. So yeah, that one was pretty bad. Oh, and I had enough money to call my parents and say, "By the way, don't come to the airport today, come a day later." Yeah. I was I walked a lot. I was, yeah, pretty bored. That was that was pretty bad. Yeah. 26-hour layover. Yep, I tried to sleep, but I'm tall, man, and there's no like long seats to lie down on. Like I said, it was supposed to be 2 hours. It was supposed to be 2 hours. 2 hours I could have handled. Reading a whole newspaper is desperate times. Yeah, bro, business section and everything. Yep. Terminal starring me. Yeah, pretty much. It felt like that. It was pretty brutal. And then after 26 hours, you still got to get like on an 8 hour flight to New Zealand. It was bad. It was real bad. Worst was 18 hours, but you were able to get out to Singapore. Yeah, so any other time I had a long layover, I would book myself into one of those little rest rooms where you can at least like have a shower, maybe have a quick nap, get a wake up call kind of thing. But I had no money on me. I wasn't expecting to be there more than a couple hours. Like Burger King money was all I needed. You know what I mean? Anyway. No crosswords. I don't think they had crosswords in that newspaper, but I genuinely can't remember. We're talking a long time ago, 2006. I was so bad, I'll tell you. At one point, I was that tired. They had this like a pillar, and you could connect your laptop up to the pillar to the internet. So it's a pillar with like a desk area around it. But I just saw a guy using a computer, and the internet stations also look like that. But so many of the computers had either been vandalized or just broken that I couldn't find one to use that was not occupied. So I found one with no queue. There was a guy standing there using his computer, and I thought I'll wait till he finished, then I'll use the computer. But it was his own freaking laptop. It wasn't a public computer. So he's sitting there using his laptop thinking, why the fuck is this guy standing behind me? This guy's creepy as shit. He didn't say anything like, bro, this is not a public computer. But eventually I realized in my stupor. Yeah. Good times. Good times. They have lounges in Dubai so you can at least get some sleep. I don't know what KL is like now, but Kuala Lumpur was not good for sleep back in those days. If you'd had money on you, would you have gone to one of the business class lounges? I might have asked about a hotel or something if they'd had a room. Because honestly, 26 hours, that's ages. At least go get a sleep, get reinvigorated. Like, if you have like a half sleep nap doze on on the seats while the guys are still trying to vacuum and there's announcements coming over, you don't get any rest, eh? That's why I'm standing there behind some guy on his laptop. Yeah, pretty bad. At least I realized after a while. The longest you've had is like 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, I was lucky. I was only like 22, so I had a bit of energy to get through it. But 26 hours was not fun. At least they had the flight. That would have been worse if it had been a different time. Yeah. Thoughts on the Landers game, Toby, man? That was brutal, eh? Highlanders could have won at the death. Came very close, but not to be. Force were knocking on the door for like those last 10-15 minutes, but could not get any more points than those 7. To be fair, when that lady at the Beijing airport, after me standing there, I don't know how many minutes it was. It felt like forever. Because, check-in processes, you give them your documents, they type, and then they give you your boarding pass. It's like a couple of minutes, right? When you've been there for longer than what it's supposed to be, you're worried something's wrong. So I was really worried that my flight was cancelled or something. So I was kind of happy to get one the day later. But yeah, 26 hours was still pretty brutal. I must have reeked. I did buy a toothbrush. Yeah, actually, that's another thing I brought. I brought a toothbrush to give myself a brush. And I think I just washed myself. We were talking so long ago. I know I definitely cleaned myself somehow in the bathroom using probably like hand soap, probably like Mr. Bean. Yeah, and paper towels. I definitely cleaned myself a bit, but I probably, the people sat next to me on the flight back to New Zealand probably suffered a wee bit. You're right. I needed that hostess for those 26 hours. Yeah, that was a few years earlier than my show-off flight. Someone asked me if I spoke Chinese before I went to China. I spoke a little bit. I'd studied Chinese for a wee bit at uni, so I had foundational Chinese, but it certainly got a lot better when I was over there. Which Aussie team do you think is the Blues bogey team? Who have we had trouble with in recent years? We used to always have trouble with the Reds. Even when the Reds were bad, we couldn't beat them. We've also lost to the Tars in recent years, though, so I don't know. As a Landers man, I'm biased, but I think that a couple of calls were pretty harsh against them. Aaron Smith shared your thoughts on the post-match interview. It's tough, man, when it's a 1-point game. I mean, the fact that they got back to within 1 point after having that red card says a lot about how they played. Hurricanes weren't in the game for that second half, but I mean, 1 point. It's like the Crusaders could have won that game yesterday against the Blues, if they just got one more play. So sometimes that's just the way it goes. It's funny because I read the Crusaders Facebook page and people were like, oh, Blues, 16 men on the field, of course you're going to win. And then I read the Blues Facebook page and people are like saying, ref was trying to do everything he could to give the Crusaders the game at the end. So it's like, you can't win. Can't win. Thoughts on Jake Paul and Sonny Bill Williams potentially fighting? I honestly, apart from the fact that I know he's boxed a couple of people, I have no idea who Jake Paul is. I'm totally old man. I don't follow any of that stuff. Yeah. Very much in old man mode. Was the right call made with the disallowed try, Junaid, man? If the ref didn't have a view of it and the TMO couldn't overturn it, I can live with that. Favorite airport story was when I was coming home from Spain. The airline agent was checking me in, asked if I had organised a travel visa for the UAE, and for some reason, airline agent that I was checking me in asked if I had organised a travel visa for the UAE for some reason, but I had a short layover. Some countries you do need a layover visa. Said I didn't need one due to a short layover. She made a call to her manager, I assume, and got sort of I never needed to get one for a layover. Okay. I know Australia requires visas for a layover because my missus would have needed one because she's on a Chinese passport. Once when we were going to travel Qantas, my company had booked tickets and then they rearranged them because they were like, nah, we're not dealing with the Aussie visa nonsense. So, yeah. And you don't need to know who Jake Paul is. That's pretty much the way I'm living my life. Yeah. Yeah. That seems like kind of the Kardashians of male YouTubers, but I honestly don't know. I'm just putting that out there. Kardashians, I'm just saying, as in a show I have no interest in, a family I have no interest in. So, Jake Paul's pretty much the same. I don't really care. But that's just because I'm a grumpy old man. Best little story was buying 4 beers in Keflavik Airport, Iceland. Bloody hell expensive. Oh, they're always expensive. Yeah. I got detained in Lisbon because my place of birth no longer exists. Okay, where were you born? Oh, halftime stats. Junaid, bro, keep me on track. You're a legend. Do keep me on track. I'll do the halftime stats and see where things are at. Right, possession 67-33, territory 77-23, all to the force. Yeah, so the Tars have been holding on, but I guess that's a potentially an issue with the Force's attack. The Force have lost 5 rucks though, which is a lot for one half, and the Tars have lost 0. Yeah. Leopoldville, former Congo. Man, that's a pain. Earlier I said I'd flown business class for the last hour of that flight when I had a connecting flight. When I got off that flight, so I get off my first flight, which was Auckland. I go Auckland to Sydney, Sydney to Shanghai. I get to Shanghai, and because both my Auckland to Sydney flight and my Sydney to Shanghai flight have both been delayed, I'm struggling to get my Shanghai to Wuhan flight. So they let me off pretty much first, and they're like, you got to go to the check-in desk. I run to the check-in desk for the Wuhan flight. No, first I had to get my bags. I had to get my bags from Qantas. I wait. I know I've got no time. My bag, I'm waiting at the baggage carousel. Remember, they let me off first so I can be first. Do you think my bags come out of the carousel? Nah, my bags are not there. My bags are lost. So I have to fill out a form for a lost baggage claim. So that's wasted like 20 minutes and I'm already late. They let me off first for a reason. I'm already late. So without my bags, I run to the check-in desk, which is deserted. There's nobody there. I kind of flag down some lady and she's like, she just got my boarding pass there. She's like, oh yeah, you need to run. It's like gate frickin' 80 and I'm standing at gate 1 because Shanghai airport is massive. And I was wearing a suit as well because I was like, oh, I've got one suit. I'll just wear it. And then I don't have to like worry about it getting it dry cleaned. So in my suit with no bags, she says you need to run because the flight's boarding. It's already open for boarding or something. And I look at the gate 80. So I frickin' run and run. And you know there's like those travelators? Like I'm running on the travelators to boost my speed. It's like a speed boost. I run and run and run. I'm sweating buckets. I get to the check-in desk at whatever gate, like 80. Remember, my first flight was delayed. My second flight was delayed. I finally get there, sweating buckets in my suit. And the lady goes, you can have a seat because our flight to Wuhan is delayed. So I could have just chilled. But I ran like a madman. You should have seen me running in that airport. I'm not fit. I was in a suit, not in clothes for sprinting. But you better believe I sprinted. Anyway, that's all my airport stories. I'm done. No more airport stories. Oh, and I had to go back to... Sorry about the airport stories. I had to go back to Wuhan airport like 3 days later to get my bags, which they finally found. They'd left my bags in Sydney. I had to pay to get to the airport. There was no subway line to the airport at that time in Wuhan. So I had to fork out to get to the... Qantas didn't reimburse me any travel costs. Yeah. Anyway, the delay to the Wuhan flight was only like another 10 minutes. So I went in and washed my face because I was so sweaty, and then I got on the plane. Yeah, that was a nightmare. My airport stories are unfortunately hilarious. I know. I had some pretty bad luck, but I never missed a plane. Yeah, I never missed a plane. So, yeah. It's alright. It's alright. You live and learn. It's all rich tapestry, right? Yeah. I'm sure people have got worse stories than me for that kind of thing, right? It's not too bad. All I had to do was run through an airport. Yeah. Landers game thinking about the red card video. He wondered if the card numbers would peter out, maintain the frequency. Safe to say we're still seeing a lot. I was thinking about that, Toby. Like, do the 20-minute red cards mean we are seeing more red cards? I'm not actually sure. I haven't run the numbers. But potentially, if we are seeing more red cards, are we seeing more red cards because players are careless because their team is not going to get as much of a punishment? Or is there also a factor that refs are less under pressure to give a yellow instead of a red? Because if they give a 20-minute red, they're not going to ruin the game. Because refs are human. That thought's got to be going through their head, right? You know, you're in the first 5 minutes and you see an offence. I don't know. Don't know. My airport stories fill a damn book. Philippines for 8 years means a lot of madhouse stuff. I can imagine. We'll have to go for a beer one day and catch up over some airport stories. I'm sure I could think of some more. Can't recall which airports I've been, but a couple had trains inside them because they're so freaking big. Surprised the one in China didn't have one. Shanghai did, and Wuhan does now. But back in those days, Wuhan did not. You had to get to Wuhan airport either by the airport shuttle or taxi. So I ended up taking a taxi, I think, and that was quite expensive. So I was kind of pissed off with Qantas by that, eh? Lost my bags when I was already late. Yeah, Starleo, that would have been hilarious for everybody else, seeing me, 6'4" of me, running through the airport in a suit, sweating buckets, trying to get to this flight. Like the girl at the check-in desk wasn't even helpful. Like, I was thinking she could call me like, hey, I got an emergency. I need one of those little buggies, like golf cart buggies. Get this guy to gate number 80 now. She was like, you better run. Yeah. Anyway. I feel like people against it think teams will be more reckless, while the people for it are thinking refs can give the freedom for more correct calls. Yeah, there may be a bit of both. I don't think players... Because the player doesn't get to come back. I can't imagine players will be that much more careless, but maybe I'm being a bit naive. Hoping Manchester Airport has calmed down for your last trip. They had COVID staffing crisis, and apparently it was chaos. Yeah, that's not good. You don't want to be in an airport with a staffing situation. Favorite club team in Europe? Oh man, that's a tough question. I can tell you the first club team from Europe's jersey I ever got was Leinster. That was that man Mark who was in the chat earlier, or maybe now. Sent me that one. So the first one I ever had was Leinster. That's something. I've only been to Aussie and Fiji. Aussie was 37 years ago. Fiji was 17 years ago. Holy hiccup. No, Mum, you need a holiday. I haven't left New Zealand for 2018. So it's been a wee while. Yeah. The longest I was away from New Zealand was like 2 years without coming back. I feel like they're dishing out reds more often. Could be confirmation bias. Looking forward to a follow-up video. Yeah, I was trying to find an easy way to find a sum of the red cards issued to see if there's an increase or decrease, but I think I have to go through it game by game. It's not hard. It only takes a second, but game by game is still a shitload of games, eh? So if I could just find some resource which just lists... Like, you can find the amount of tries that were scored. By the way, the second half's on. We're at 40 minutes and 15 seconds. If I could find a resource which just summed it up for me, that'd make my job a lot easier, but we'll see. We'll see. Where's my boy Alan? I don't know. I even said to him yesterday, we'll do your TARS game. Where's he disappeared to? Oh shit, he said, my brother's broken his leg. Oh shoot. Down a man for a quarter of the game. Can't see anyone not caring about that. Yeah, you're down a man for a quarter of the game. You still get a ban. You don't get to come back on. I can't imagine any player would take that lightly. But yeah, maybe I am being naive. There seems to be this logic that people are going to want to, like, take out, like, you know, if you're playing the Crusaders, you just get someone to go and take out Will Jordan or something. And rugby does have some mental stories of coaches ordering some pretty crazy stuff, but again, maybe I'm naive, but I don't see it happening. My brother's been in Taiwan for 15 years, came back once and hated it. Holy moly. 15 years. Your brother's not Grant, is it? Grant's in Taiwan. Aussie was a holiday with your nana and Fiji was your honeymoon. Makes sense. I didn't really get to go anywhere for my honeymoon, because my parents and my aunt and uncle, a couple of aunts and uncles, and my brother had come over to China for the wedding. The Tars have absolutely just blown a sure thing try. That is unbelievable. Oh my god. That's atrocious. Parisi sits down Godwin, Newsom, Peach, and then the pass to Faketi is nowhere. That's shocking. Spent 10 years traveling throughout Asia and Africa. Quite pleased to be home now. Yeah, I can understand the feeling of just kind of being home and chilling. That being said, the more I watched Bald and Bankrupt, the more I want to go travel some stupid places that I've never even thought of traveling before, to be honest. Ronald, married and everything, man. Good man. A mortgage and 2 kids, you're too poor and love mum. I understand the feeling. Trust me. Try going from a decently paid job at university to run a YouTube channel. That being said, I can still drop my kids off and pick them up, so life is good. And to be fair, I didn't like my job at the university anyway, so I'm glad I left. Tars did have a brain fade. They pretty much blew a sure thing try. Sammy doesn't like the new laws, especially the 20-minute red card. I don't mind it, eh? But I know it's a real divisive one. Some people absolutely hate it. But Nigel Owens makes a fair point where he says, if the laws are ruining the games kind of thing, basically, then it's the laws that need fixing, not the card, you know what I mean? Got something better now, got a garden, that's true. I do have a garden. I wouldn't have time to be in the garden if I was working at the uni. Goal is to become French and buy a place here before heading home to be with my parents in 10 to 15 years. That's a big aim. You, Victoria, you speak French, right? You could do Bald and Bankrupt in France. You go around speaking French to people with your camera. Go to some little villages that nobody's ever been to. You get to talk to the camera in English. Then you speak in French to the locals and you go get drunk on some wine. That could be classic. I'd watch that. I did a year in Australia backpacking. Brisbane was your base. You've always liked the Reds. Good, man. That makes sense. Got a bit of a connection there. But as being in Europe is cheap travel. Yeah, New Zealand is miles from everywhere, so cheap nothing. Right, the Force. Junaid says to watch up. Is it going to be a maul try? It's going to be a try, all right. Anstey. Game on? Game on? That punishes the Tars for not getting their try earlier. Victoria, why not, man? You speak the language. That's all you need, and a camera, and some free time, and a bit of travel money. I worked in Bordeaux, one vintage, convinced a baker to go to New Zealand for the 2011 World Cup. He and his mate ended up staying with my family in the Waikato. Nice. You must be a salesman of some kind, Elleran, to convince him to do that. Victoria, man, do it. If I go back to China for a holiday, take my kids and my missus back to Wuhan, I'm doing it. Get my camera, brushing up on my Chinese. I'm going to go to some stupid village and make an idiot of myself. Lock it in. You'll watch it, won't you? What can I be? I can't be bald and bankrupt because I've still got my hair. I can be tall and... I don't know. What's a good rip-off of bald and bankrupt? Tall and... I don't know. Not quite bankrupt, but poor. Not poor. That's exaggerating. I have a mortgage. Some people don't even have the pleasure of having a mortgage. Might be ignorant, but it's rugby. How players suing. I ran into too many times. My brain's a mush. Let's see. I think that's from the NFL example, basically. Saying that they didn't take kind of the duty of care thing, but all the legal stuff is a bit beyond me. Pryor has not had his goal kicking boots on the last couple of weeks. Jonathan, mate, we're good. We are good. Tall with a tin cup. What's the tin cup? I'm oblivious. Isn't that usually a trophy? Tall and jobless. Hey, I like that. Tall and jobless is not bad. Ball did one. Did you see he went off with his girlfriend and smuggled a kitten from Cuba to the Czech Republic? I haven't seen much of the stuff where he's not in the former Soviet Union because he doesn't speak very good Spanish or French or anything. I did see a couple though. I saw the one where he found that kitten, but I didn't see the follow-up to that. The lady was like, don't touch the cat, it's got scabies. But she was like, it doesn't matter. Watch up, says Junaid. It's going to be a Waratahs Mall this time. And it is. It's going over. Boomfa. Yeah, that guy Bald has got he's got some bravery to do some of the stuff that he does. I certainly wouldn't be able to imitate half of the stuff that he does. He's nuts. Calais and Dunkirk have Soviet vibes. There you go. I've toyed with the idea of getting a GoPro or something and filming my hikes here. Usually end up chatting to people, so it could be a good video. Victoria, here's the push you need. Do that, man. Get a second-hand GoPro or something like that. Don't be sucked in by GoPro wanting to always sell you the latest model, because they're pretty much like iPhones, I guess. They upgrade a little bit to them, but not too much. Yeah. Chat to some people. Tell us the name of your channel. I'll watch it. Who are the favourites to win this game? Jonathan, mate, it's the Tars, I think. And, ooh, that kick's just come around. What a kick. Yeah, the Tars came out to a real flyer in this one. Jonathan, mate, they scored like, what was it, 24 unanswered points within 13 minutes. So the game's kind of been a bit lopsided since then. Enjoying this stream like the game last night more. Yeah, fair enough. We are talking a bit of bollocks tonight, I'm afraid. I hope you don't mind. Sometimes it's nice to shoot the shit and talk some airport stories or some other nonsense while drinking vodka. Why am I doing this to myself? The reason Elliot is not here, by the way, is because his brother fell off a ladder and broke his leg. So we will forgive Elliot for not showing up. Force are crawling back into it. Maybe they were when they got that last try, but then they scored 5, conceded 7, so 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Harlequins versus Montpellier starting soon. I'm going to be in bed for that one. That's pretty much my plan for tomorrow morning, is catch up on some Champions Cup. Canes and Blues should be playing in stadiums this size, not the monstrosities they're currently in. Yeah, I agree. Eden Park is not really fit for purpose for that purpose anyway. They still have the number 2 ground, if you guys have never been to Eden Park, right next to Eden Park. It's like Twickenham's got Twickenham in the Stoop. Like Eden Park's got the same thing. The main ground and the number 2 ground, but there's like virtually no seating on the number 2 ground. But yeah, broken legs are not fun. Send Alan and his brother our love. Yeah, I'll send him a message. Do the video about the uncapped Springbok 15? Yeah. I've been meaning to do a video like that for ages. I sometimes get bogged down watching too many games. I don't get to do some of the fun stuff. So I'll do an All Blacks one next. I was talking to Gazza about what his uncapped All Blacks 15 might look like. So I'll give that a go. That could be a bit of fun. Number 2 ground is for cricket. Yeah, it is. I think it used to be used for club rugby, but a long time ago, back when I was a young fella. Oh, Kahui's knocked it forward. Back for advantage. I like the idea of recording my walks, but it's probably not safe to walk around with a camera here. Could you not do it kind of sneakily? Every now and again I've done the ones in like a shopping mall, and they tend to not like you holding anything too obvious, so I take a smaller, either use my phone or a smaller camera. Uncapped All Black squad would be genuinely interesting. Yeah, that's on the agenda, for sure. Sinead says to watch up. It's going to be another maul try, based on what I'm seeing right now. Boomfa. This game needs some more. 3 more tries in a row. I don't mind it, as long as the Force can make a game of this. Richie or Bodie? I'm going to go Bodie because the Blues ended up winning it. But yeah, I wasn't sure about the instructions for them to kick as much as they did in that second half. The AFL want Western Springs to be developed into a cricket oval. There's been a bit of talk about that for a while. I think they were talking about demolish Eden Park, sell it for like housing, because Mount Eden's a pretty affluent suburb, and then move the cricket to Western Springs and move move the rugby downtown to where the ports were or something, and build like an adjustable seating stadium where you can have it so most of the seating's kind of blocked off, all the upper seats are blocked off, rectangular one for rugby, super rugby. You can open it up more for the All Blacks, and then you can kind of convert it to a stadium for the, not a stadium, like a stage for concerts. That was the dream back in like 2011 or something for the World Cup. Nothing happened. They just decided to do up Eden Park. And yeah, Western Springs is where the zoo is. Auckland Zoo. Next door, there's a bunch of greenery. I will update the scoreboard. It is 1931, so yeah, maybe game on. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I can feel the vodka. Troubling. In hindsight, Auckland should have gone for the waterfront stadium. Eden Park bleeds money every year. It's a big old white, is it white elephant? Because they can't use it for many concerts because there's too many houses around there. It bleeds loads of money. Damien McKenzie said he would like to see Japan teams playing against Super Rugby teams in a competition. Yeah, he's in Japan right now, so he probably would say that, but when, eh? When is the question. If I had to pick one club game to happen that doesn't happen now, it would be like the winner of Super Rugby to play the winner of the Champions Cup. Crusaders against Leinster or Toulouse against the Crusaders. Yeah. Eventually, because the South African teams will be in the European competition Champions Cup stuff next year, so it could even be back to Bulls Crusaders, you know what I mean? Make downtown nicer at night. Yeah, downtown seems like it makes sense to play in downtown. Or you can put the Warriors there, you can put the Blues there, you can put All Blacks games there, you can have concerts there. Like, you need to use a stadium a lot. Like, look at the Staples Center in LA. It's got like a hockey team. Is it two basketball teams? And it has concerts. It's like full all the time. I know you can't compare Auckland to LA, but you know what I mean. Do I remember the World Cup in 2003, which we lost, where it all went to Australia? Yeah, that was a debacle because New Zealand Rugby refused to remove advertising from the stadiums. That was pretty dumb. And yes, Junaid, Gazza reckons the Landers are making the top 8. We got Kings Park next to Moses Mabida down the road from Kingsmead. Basically, it sits empty all year. It's a waste, eh? It's a big old waste. Wouldn't Eden Park be worth a fortune for housing? After the World Cup, it was within, maybe it was pre-COVID, there was talk that some big development company wanted, because the council, the Auckland Council, keeps having to bail out Eden Park with money because Eden Park just keeps losing money. Eden Park's in debt up to its eyeballs with Auckland Council. So some developer was like, sell us Eden Park, we'll knock it down, build a ton of houses like Alaron says, which is in a really good area. They'll make money. They'll use that money to build a waterfront stadium. But the council was like, nah. And to be fair, stadium builds always go way overpriced, right? So, uh-oh. Force just got a yellow card. To be fair also, the the proposed stadium they wanted to build on the waterfront was like one that was kind of like half submerged or something. So you knew that's the kind of thing like that's going to blow out by $500 million or something. So, yeah. Bordeaux has a beautiful newish football stadium, but the team is rubbish. Meanwhile, little old Chaban is heaving every weekend. I'm assuming that's where the rugby boys play. Auckland Council is crap, honestly. I could not agree more with that. I think the local government in Auckland could give any local government a run for its money in wasted money and disorganisation. Let's just keep the terrible situation we have now. Basically, Jamie, yeah. Instead of taking the move to like potentially incur a bit of debt by having to build a new stadium, if the costs did blow out like a big chunk of debt, they would rather just kind of just keep bailing it out every other year. Just throwing money at it. It's because it's a council, it's all the local ratepayers, all the tax money. So it's easy to throw away other people's money, right? You don't have to pay for it. This is going to be try time. Newsome out on that left wing. Perth Stadium is amazing, but rugby is usually played on NIB Stadium shared with the soccer team. Well, Perth's an oval, right? So that would kind of make sense, I guess. Pretty easy there from the Tars if you're watching the game. Extra man out wide. Bonfire. Short-term thinking, that's politics. Basically, Jamie, yeah. Our local council is pretty well known in these parts for basically short-term thinking and inefficiency. So, there you go. If we ever do get a new stadium, I bet it's either ugly or plain looking for whatever reasons in their essential aesthetics. Do we have a really good looking stadium? I mean, the cake tin's kind of iconic, but it's not the right shape for rugby. $36.19, folks. It's pretty messy. Don't want to come back to Auckland and full time until there's more transport. Just bite the bullet and do light rail. Victoria, honestly, I was in Wuhan from like 2007 until 2014. When I got there, they didn't have any. They had one light rail line, which nobody used because it went such a short distance. And I know it's China, so they got way more resources, but in the time that I was there, they built about 7 subway lines. And I was so used to taking the subway everywhere when I got back to Auckland, because they never used to have trains running in Auckland when I left. When I got back, everyone's like, bro, there's trains now. And I was like, that's amazing. There's trains, because Auckland had old train tracks, which they had stopped using, which they started using again. But you should have seen the look on my face when this freaking choo-choo train pulls into the station. I've been in China where there's like electric, subway trains, very high-tech, fancy. And then in Auckland, I come back, choo-choo, 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 choo-choo. Like freaking Thomas the Tank Engine pulls up, man. Yeah, that was disheartening. Newsom's just got another one. Tars are blowing the force off the park. The stadium in Dunedin, Sinead, actually, you're right. The stadium in Dunedin is a proper perler. I've been there once and it was really nice. Newsom won't score two easier tries than that. All he had to do was finish him. What a try, though. Yeah, the Tars' hands in that one were proper thing of beauty. Gas, the offloads, very nice. Come to Melbourne, which doesn't have a train line to its main airport. Bro, neither does Auckland. There was talk about it, and I think they've pretty much decided that it's too hard. We're still on the choo-choos when you started Auckland Uni. That wasn't a fun commute. They've at least got electric trains now. But when I came back, it was choo-choo trains. Yeah. Edmed's missed that one as well, but it's 41-19. Fossiato's quick, isn't he? Melbourne public transport is pretty great, yeah. I don't know why they wouldn't have a train line to the airport. I remember I was in Melbourne maybe 2017? And I was way out west. My aunt lives in Werribee, so pretty far west. And like we just got the train into the city, left my son with my mum and my aunt. It was easy. It was real easy, real convenient. Sydney was actually pretty good as well, to be fair, public transport. Auckland's built on a volcanic field, very hard to build tunnels. That's true, but light rail. Surely they can do light rail. Jamie's off to enjoy a sunny day. I don't blame you, mate. This game's... You can put a fork in her because she is done. 41-19. I'm going to finish off a little bit of this vodka, but it's hitting me stronger than the beers are, so forgive me if I say anything foolish more than normal. Dime's job is building tunnels in Auckland. What? Where? Do you think you and the family may ever move out of Auckland, Junaid, mate? I only just managed to buy this house in Auckland. And I swore after we moved my son one school and my daughter one kindergarten that I was never going to move again until they finished school because I don't want to do that to them. So, not for a while. As long as I can keep servicing my mortgage, I don't plan to move anytime. Yep. No worries, Jamie, mate. Enjoy the rest of your day, bro. Force don't feel any worse, but yeah, the Rebels have been tracking well, and the Tars have just been better since the start of the season, to be fair. What's the central interceptor dime? I don't actually know what that means. Like the seats in Sydney trains, you can flip the seats around easily. I vaguely remember that. I just remember it was really easy to use the train over there. Let the kids finish up on school and then decide what I want to do later. Sammy, my parents did that for me. I never had to move schools. I never had to be the new kid. So, yeah, I don't want to do that to my kids either. Google it. Okay. I'll Google it. After the game. Sydney's trains are a big case of wasted potential. They're good, but could be much better. I remember the lines were closed a couple of times out west when I was in Sydney, but I wasn't using the western line, so it didn't really make a difference. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Almost another Tars line break, but not to be. Oop. Waratahs turn for a yellow card. Gareth, you haven't seen the Blues Crusaders game? If you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. If you haven't at least seen the highlights, definitely worth a watch. It was a really good game. Come on, Force. Score. Get closer than 1941. Oh, the Tars have turned them over. Brutal. Brutal. You know how when it rains, a lot of beaches in Auckland, some beaches get sewage on them. We are making a 13-kilometer long wastewater tunnel to sort that out. Bro. So Auckland Council's paying your wages, so at least when I pay my rates, I'll feel a little bit better that some of it's going to a good cause. That sounds alright. Crusaders Blues, says Johan, what a game. Yep, it was good. Trying to find the full game. We didn't have electricity for a couple of days. The load shedding, that's brutal. The only time I've experienced load shedding was in China, actually, when I lived in a small town. Not a small town, a small city by Chinese standards. My first year there, they did a little bit of load shedding. But that was back in 2005. I don't know if they still do it now. That's a very long time ago. But yeah, during the middle of the day, often my power would get turned off. Basically after breakfast. Should the Highlanders have won their game, Jonathan, mate? Maybe. It's a point. It's 1 point. Best game of the season, Junaid? For me as a Blues fan, 100%, man. We've been waiting a long time to beat the Crusaders down there. I even went to my son after that game because he hadn't fallen asleep. I went into his room and just had to talk to him. And he was like, who won? And I said, the Blues won. First time since 2004. First time in your lifetime since the Blues beat the Crusaders in Christchurch. And he's like, wow. I'm not sure if he grasped it, but I still told him. Can't see what Victoria's writing. I'm just going to have a drink of vodka. Grandmother supported the Crusaders and you support the Blues. You've got it right, Johan, mate. Do they tell you approximately what time your power is going off? I don't know what it's like in South Africa now. In China, though, they used to put up a notice to say when it was going to go off, so at least you could plan for it, yeah. And my son is a Stormers fan. I don't know how that works. He likes the jersey, and I think he thinks the name is cool. Highlanders just needed a drop goal. Yeah, they could have gone for a drop goal, man. Put Mitch Hunt back in the pocket. He's done it before. Force have just fluffed it, but back for advantage. Double blow of the whistle from Angus Gardner. It's going to be a warning. Oh, he's going now. Oh. It's 15v13. Got an app when notifies you when it's planned for. Well, at least that's better than nothing. Mitch Hunt's drop goal against the Landers for years ago. That's right. It was a classic. That was one of the best moments in recent memory, for like a classic finish to a game. So yeah. 15 for 13 Chiefs got bloody nada. Sorry about that, Lauren. Yeah, that's true. Come on, Force. You got to score here. They needed that. Pasatoa through with some gas. Yeah, they had to score there. Force can't win from here. Yeah, they probably can't, but they can at least, I don't know, play for a bit of pride. Enough time for a losing bonus point? Maybe not. Maybe. They still need more points. Is he going to get this conversion? He's missed the conversion. He's not been kicking well the last few weeks, eh? He's been decidedly average after being one of the better kickers in the competition for the early parts of it. No chance of the BP, says Elleran. It does seem very, very unlikely. Just need the Force to get the next score, and your Super Brew might come into play there on Monday. Yeah, I think the Super Brew ship has sailed for me and Elleran. Waratahs, that has got a penalty. They can still chase the bonus point from their side as well, because they've lost it. Montpellier game's kicking off now, bloody hell. I'm not staying up for that. It's already 11:30. I'm going to go to bed. I don't even think I'm going to do the Super Rugby games before I go to bed. I'm just going to go to bed. Vodka's making me sleepy. Don't really watch much NRL, but the highlights. Even I heard about the Sean Johnson Golden Point winner. Waratahs have got advantage. 2 minutes to go, folks. My bed is calling me. Juice and Tabasco. What does that next word say? How much vodka have I had? Oh, is it supposed to be the Worcestershire? So that's the Bloody Mary. I don't really like tomato juice though, eh? I guess I could get used to it. I haven't had it for a long time. With the vodka. Well, I don't have much vodka left. I've only got a little bit of it left. I'll have to get some more. Don't do it, Mark. Bloody Mary is not a good idea. It's not worth it. It's been nice to try something different, honestly, even if it's making me sleepy. It's a very different experience to the last time I had vodka when I was, as I mentioned earlier, Probably a bit thick. Move on to gin. I could get some gin. I literally have never ever tried gin. I've never tried it ever. Gin for the win. Okay, so we can all agree on gin. Alright. But do I have to have it with tonic water or can I just have it straight? Junaid says to watch up. Alright, this game's going to finish with a flow. We are at 80 minutes. Come on, get it to Mataele, surely. Oh, another intercept? That's going to be a deliberate knock on, mate. A ref's blowing the whistle. Jonathan, bro, you take care, man. Good to see you as always. That's full time. Oh, just a knock on. Okay, game over. Definitely worth trying a variety of spirits. Indeed. Okay, so I needed to buy tonic water and gin. Fair enough. I can get some tonic water. Just wanted to pay attention to the game. Fair enough. Yeah, I was getting a bit distracted by the end. I blame the vodka, but it's been nice to try something a bit different instead of just freaking Spates, although no trivia, unfortunately. But anyway. Charlie Gamble with that mustache is getting interviewed at the end, but yeah. Johan, I've never played Rugby Challenge 4, so unfortunately I can't actually comment, but yeah, there we go. Good chat. Yes, interesting, folks. Recently I've been doing the nighttime videos before I go to bed, but I have decided I'm going to hit the hay. Basically, I'm going to go straight to bed. I'll brush my teeth, and then I'm going to go to bed. So, yes. You guys all take care of yourselves. Hopefully we'll see you at some point next weekend where we have some Aussie against Kiwi team action. And we'll see where the teams kind of stack up with each other. But yeah, the airport stories were a bit of a fun one to share. They're so long ago in my memory that they actually kind of seem funny now. Although 26 hours in Kuala Lumpur at the time didn't seem that funny. I forgot to mention at that time, I had enough money because to get into Kuala Lumpur City, you need to take like a train or a bus. I had enough money to get the train and then get back, but then I would have used all my money. That's why I stayed in the airport for 26 hours. Anyway, you guys all take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you again sometime soon. All right, folks. See ya.